everyone and welcome to my channel. Guess who keeps complaining about the show every single episode but is still here? Obviously me. But don't act like I'm alone in this. No. We are all in the same boat because there's no way someone watches the show and is genuinely enjoying all of it. I don't believe that because I get so nitpicky with some stuff and I get so mad about some stuff, and I know you too because you clicked on this video. But I must say, it's getting better. We are in episode 5. This episode was not that bad. I'm finally seeing some stuff I want to see. The performances are getting better. Everything is improving. The girls, the trainees, the judgments are still very bad, but we're going to talk about it. So let's just get right into it. Just as a small recap, in the last episode, since I didn't do a video about it, we had some really good performances that I just couldn't move on without talking about them. Obviously, The Boys was insane. I think it was the best performance we've seen until now, and it's up there with Bad Boy from the very, very first episode for me. So that was insane. Really, show-stopping, marvelous. Everything that Lady Gaga says in that one video that I rewatched 1,000 times but still cannot remember what was the exact words, but you get me. It was very, very good. I was very, very surprised. I didn't expect them to be that good, honestly, because even though they were all high-ranking trainees, the performances until now were a bit lackluster in my opinion. Yunah, as always, just embodying the concept so well. Chanel did amazing. Jihyun did amazing. All of the girls, honestly, they did just a phenomenal job. And then we also had My Bag last episode, which confuses me. Why do we not have a single round per episode? Because they're all mushy in my brain and I get confused of what we've seen and what we haven't seen. And there are so many rounds and so many different types of stuff. And then eliminations in the middle. Can we have a good structured episode? Can the editors make it nice and pretty? This is the episode. This is the round. The round finishes. The episode is done. The round starts, the episode starts. Please follow something chronologically and in order. Why having all these mixed things? I thought it was gonna be a once or twice thing, but no, it's the 5th episode and it's still happening. And the next episode, we know it's still gonna happen. Please, don't you know cliffhangers? Don't you know how to stop before the elimination? That is how it should end the episode. I don't know who's editing these episodes, but it feels like they gave it to a 3-year-old and they just cut it wherever. Also, the performances are just cut wherever. But anyways, My Bag was pretty nice, pretty good. I feel I am never disappointed when trainees and survival shows cover Jiwoo. They have a lot to work with, and it's not the easiest of songs, but they pull off really well. So I really, really like most, if not all, of the covers that we have seen this year, at least, from Jiwoo songs. And My Bag was pretty good. We had some very low-ranked trainees there, but I think they did just fine. I didn't think Wonhee was the best in this genre or in this specific performance, but I think she did pretty well. I thought the leader, Yeowon, if I'm not mistaken, did also a really nice job. I didn't really understand why the judge was oh, you didn't do so good. Her facial expressions, she was giving me a lot of energy. The twerking in the beginning also surprised me because I didn't think she was gonna have that much energy. So I am still disagreeing with the judges. And then Ruka, I feel so bad because she's so skilled and so good, but she kind of fades into the background. I don't see her much in the stage, but then she starts singing and I really, really like her tone of voice. Her voice color is just so nice, and I'm always oh my gosh, who's singing? And then it's always her, always Ruka. I always so think Funa did a great job, okay? We were not seeing her. We're not talking about her. I see her, but we're not talking about her. Every time she comes to the screen, I'm who is this girl? And it's always Funa. Mocha also did a pretty nice job, even though she had one line. And Hasil, she was invisible for the episode and the performance. So when she got eliminated further in the episode, it wasn't really shocker or surprise. Well, My Bag, I really, really liked it. I also liked the styling. I loved how the MC, Susan, she was oh, I'm part of the group. That was really cute. But onto this episode, we had the other 2 performances from the hip-hop thing. The first was from mid-tier, the ones you knew were already gonna get second place. They performed Taya Cherry by CL. And there is a 12-year-old performing this, and like some of the essence of the song, I feel like it's just not appropriate. So that was that. But I felt this performance was very coordinated. They had a lot of synergy. It was very good. I didn't like the outfits that much. I feel like the outfits didn't suit them. I feel like they all missed like a very bright lipstick. That was what I thought. Very dark. I don't know, like purple lipstick was missing. I wanted something like really badass, and they were all having like nude lipsticks, which was kind of a bummer. But overall, the performance was really good. Yunah is so amazing, and she has been constantly ranking high, but they just give her 0 screen time, so no one really knows her. And the first round where she wasn't shown, that was like very, very detaining to her popularity. So that was that. But here she showed herself. She was amazing. I loved her hairstyle. I loved her, just her aura. Everything was so good from her that I was just like amazing. And I thought overall as a performance, this was very good. No one was like strictly bad, but I felt like the vocals are so edited. Sometimes I can hear the auto-tune seeping in and creeping, and I'm like, ugh, just let me hear the live vocals. And I want it raw, you know? How do I know if you're a good singer or not if you don't let me hear you? So that's on Hype's bad. Honestly, everything that's bad in this show is just Hype's fault. Like, the girls are just doing fine. So Taya Cherry was nice, I guess. It was kind of forgettable, to be honest. But they had, Jiwoo was there. She's a favorite of mine. She killed it, as always. But I think the one who shined the most was Yunah. Everyone else just was there. Oh, it was good, actually. But it just wasn't anything like, oh, like the boys, you know? Like, the boys was amazing. And My Bag also hit me a lot, I guess, because mostly I know and like the song better, but the performance overall, I really liked it. In terms of synergy and coordination, Taya Cherry was light years away from the other groups, just as a song. And then they had like dark outfits, the background was dark, so it was okay. Moa also did a really good job with like the lines and stuff. They had fun, they were kind of killing it, but I think as a performance it just didn't stood that much out to me, which it's kind of a shame because I really like some of the girls. But I feel like it's just the song, you know? It's the song. The problem is the song. And then we had Money by Lisa, which is amazing. But then again, the lyrics, you know what I'm saying? Like the twerking, excessive twerking, and then like the line saying, drop in on my ass tonight. I feel a little bit just off-put by it. It feels awkward to me now, older, seeing girls like 16, 15, or like 12 with Taya Cherry. Like just singing stuff that is not really age appropriate for like this whole public. So many people are watching. The problem is not the girls themselves, it's always the public and the watcher and the viewers. And if we could avoid this, why didn't we? And then I get like off-put. But anyways, Money by Lisa, we had Youngseo, and she carried the performance. Oh my gosh, Youngseo is so good. Her expressions, her faces, everything was insane. Then we had Yunah. I was kind of off-put by her. I didn't really like her performance that much or her vocals. And in this one, I also felt like the vocals were very, very edited. But I was expecting more from it. It wasn't that nice. I feel like the choreography and even just the remix of this one was the worst out of all of the 3 hip-hop ones. And maybe they liked the song a lot that they didn't really notice how the choreography went, or like said, oh, like I like the song so much, so whatever the choreography is, we're gonna be fine because we're high ranks. But I feel like the choreography was a bit awkward. The remix wasn't nice. The dance break in the middle, I feel like it didn't fit the song almost. Talking about the song structure itself, the dance break was nice. I love that they're adding like whacking and like Vogue, everything in the performances. I think it's really, really nice touch. And the girls obviously do a spectacular job with it. But this performance felt a bit weak in comparison with what we've seen from the boys. So I know that they can do really well. They're really high-ranked trainees. Even the trainees who like they said, oh, they're like so good, they're going to do so well, fell a bit short. Mainly Iroha. Yunah also, like, Yunah was good, but, you know, not, like, brilliantly. Chanel, I barely saw her in the performance. So I felt like a performance overall, it wasn't really hitting for me. Youngseo, though, she was insane. Like, she was the best by far, and then everyone else was just kind of mid, I think. And yeah, I was sad for Jungin because her hair was in her face. Her lines, it was all just, like, her coverage up by her hair. So that made me feel pretty bad. But everything else, I don't know. This performance didn't hit for me. And I feel like there was a lot to do. I wanted more live vocals. You know, when Lisa performs a song, she like screams some parts so that the audience gets like hyped up. Something similar where they're hyping up the crowd, but it was just like normal. And I know that when you're performing, you should perform it like perfectly because you're in K-pop and you're training and yada yada yada. But I feel like it was just a lost opportunity to like hype people up and to like scream or something. And then the edited voices, doing dollar bills, like that was so edited and I absolutely hate it. I need a little bit of Mnet editing where I can hear your voice cracking. I think it was in Four Walls in the last episode. At some point they hit their foot on the ground and I could hear that and I was like, nice. But I really don't like the vocal editing. Hybe, if you're here, please stop auto-tuning them. Anyways. Okay, so Money wasn't really good, but obviously the girls win. I mean, from the boys alone, they would have won either way. They ranked super high, so that was that. And then we had the eliminations, and the girls who were eliminated were Hasu, Iris, and Yunah. And I think it was good that they were all eliminated. I mean, I feel so sorry for Yunah and even Iris. I mean, for all of them. Hasu basically didn't have any screen time, so I feel bad for her that she couldn't really show much of herself. But I feel particularly bad for Iris and Yunah. Iris, she didn't seem to want to be there, so I think the competition really got to her, and she's super young. She was 15. And you could see how hard of a time she was having. She didn't want to be there. She didn't want to cooperate. Everything was probably very, very overwhelming to the point where she couldn't even work. All that. So I was expecting, and she hadn't been a trainee for long, so she didn't live the trainee life that you already have like monthly evaluations, competition between each other. I think skipping all of that and going directly to a survival show was kind of wild. So as much as I hated her behavior on not wanting to help the team out, I understand what it comes from. And then Yunah, I just feel bad. I think honestly at a certain point they must have been filming that while she was 11 because she just turned 12 from what I understood. So her having to go on the survival show and living through all of that and having the expectations, and the judges were so harsh on her, and I honestly feel like she didn't do a bad job. For a 12-year-old, I was expecting a lot less from her, and she showed very nice vocals. Honestly, her vocals were better than some of the girls, and the dancing is what you would expect from a 12-year-old girl. And being like just exposed for the harsh criticisms. Being exposed not only from the judges, but from like the entire internet. And then being this like super high level competition, it's just not something you should go through as a 12-year-old. So I'm really, really sad that both of them had to go through this like experience, which doesn't seem like something nice. As much as you have public recognition and you can do so much more with it. So then when they debut eventually, they already have like this a little bit of fame. I don't know if it's worth it for the amount of stress they have to go through. And then Hasu, I feel bad for her. We didn't see much of her for me to be like, oh my gosh, I am so sad that she was overly stressed and stuff because we barely saw her. So I feel sadder that we didn't get to see her at all. But I feel like it was the right choice to let those three go. I'm not mad at this elimination like I was with Youngseo. I think it was time for them to go. Most of them shouldn't have been here in first place. So that was that. And then after the elimination, they divided themselves into vocal and dance, which I love, where we can see them working together on their skills and like very specific skills. So that is really nice. We also saw a little bit of personality from them in the chicken ad. Honestly, the only quote unquote off time we see from them is ads. It's like, we drink this milk. This milk doesn't make us fat, right? Like, that is the only off time we were seeing from them. And then we got some chicken ads with Aiki saying how performing in front of an audience, you need to make eye contact and just like do little improvs and stuff like that I think it's really useful now that they will have an audience in front of them. Then we had hyping coming in and coaching, and we had just Yunah being a crackhead, and I absolutely love seeing a little bit of personality. That is what I want to see, you know? I want to see them having fun, embarrassing themselves in funny ways. And that was fun. And then they divided themselves into vocal positions and dance positions, and we got to see the first vocal performance, which was from the team Wonhee, Jiwoo, Jungkook, and Yunah. I think their whole concept was pretty angelic. They were singing a song which wasn't the best for a vocal song to like hit us and, you know, be super memorable. None of them had Tay-rate moments. It wasn't like that. The song didn't hit the singing vocals as much as I would like. So then again, the song choice is extremely important. And they didn't choose a song, so they got what they got. And they had this really angelic side. And Wonhee sang really well. I really like how she sang. Her positioning on stage was a bit awkward, but I really like her voice. Her voice tone here was really nice. Junggeun, I didn't see much of her, but she did amazing. Every time she sang, it was like perfectly on pitch. Everything was really good. Yunah really surprised me. I think it was a really good choice for Yunah to show her versatility, and also because less girls were in the vocal teams with respect to the dance team, so she had her time to shine. She had all of the segment for herself. So she was in the same group as Wonhee, who is super popular and who appears a lot. When she was doing the twerking for My Bag, that was really funny, and here she was a little bit quirky or like goofy when she couldn't find her seat. But the show doesn't focus on her that much with respect to Yunah, so I really think they're pushing for Yunah. They really want her in the group because the star power is there. So we see a little bit about her struggles and how she didn't feel confident in the song, but how she cried it out, she talked it out, and she overcame that. And then she was pressured by the competition, and she's one of the trainees who has been in hype the longest, so I understand how frustrating it might be that this is like your last chance. But she did amazing. I didn't know she could sing like that well. I would never imagine she would be like this kind of singer, or she would fit this vibe, so I was really glad she came here. And Jiwoo was amazing as always. She's so good. She's my favorite, and I am so mad that the judges don't say anything. They're just like, oh, I knew you could sing, but like this was the first time I understood you could sing this well. Excuse me, she has been singing extremely well until now. I needed more praises. And then they gave some backhanded compliments to Wonhee about like the JYP thing, which is weird, but the judges are, it's just weird to me. I don't know if we don't see everything that they say, probably, most likely, or if they're just like nonsensical like that, because I don't like the judging. Something that got me curious and something that I wouldn't really appreciate is that the audience was there voting while the judges were judging, or if the judges' judgments happened after the audience vote, because I want the audience to vote for themselves. Okay, like they are thinking by themselves. They have their favorites and they have the ones that they dislike or that they're not so drawn into, but they vote on the performance based on their own feelings, because if they vote after the judges say this stuff, they're influenced. And I want a non-biased thing, which is really hard to get. Obviously, we know live audiences watching Queendom and even like Boys Planet, we know that the live audiences are not unbiased or completely unbiased, but still, if they vote after the judges say what they were doing or who they liked or who they disliked, I will hate this show more. And then the episode ends, but we also had like an interim ranking where they showed who was in which place. Iroha is in first place, Youngseo in second place. Then we have Wonhee, Jiwoo, Jimin, Minju, Jihyun all in the high spots. My favorite group would absolutely be any group with Jiwoo, Youngseo, Yunah. This episode sold Yunah to me, honestly. She was so funny and like so real, so much depth. So I wasn't liking her before, but here I love her. Any group with Jiwoo, Youngseo, and Yunah, I think I would be more than happy. But Chanel also, so those four are like my musts. And then what we're now calling the big six are those four plus Jimin and Minju, which I more than agree that this could be the big six. I don't really see Iroha's charms, to be honest. Her vocals are not something that I like a lot, and she is just a minor and just really young. I feel like she has so much time to develop and improve. But since the beginning, they have been kind of pushing her. So I definitely understand why she is first place. And also, I see that she's very talented in the dance department. And then Wonhee, I also think she could improve a lot. I understand her charms. She's quirky. And in the first episode, she also was sold to me, kind of. Like, I really liked her. Obviously, in comparison to the really low trainees, if you were like the best low trainee, then you're the best at something. But I still think she has a little bit more to go and more to improve. So I wouldn't want her in the final debut, even though I feel like it's kind of impossible that we don't get her unless she does a bad performance, which I don't see her doing because she's improving really good and really fast. But I do want Youngseo as the maknae. She just exudes talent. And so does Jiwoo, and so does Yunah, and so does Chanel. So those four for me are like a must. I also really like Funa, Mocha, they show them a little bit, but not that much. And like, no one has been talking about Funa, which is like insane. She's not a must for me, but I really like her when she appears on the performances. And the last thing I wanted to say is that for the performances, especially for the dance and singing performances, I really wish that they wouldn't cut it so much and that the girls would be aware of where they should look at each time. So which camera they should be looking at, because they put a bunch of cuts from different angles and the girls are almost never looking at the cameras. And I feel like that really disconnects me from the performances and makes me feel like the performance is not that good. And I feel like that's also why Youngseo is such a great performer in my eyes. Not only because she has amazing dance capabilities and amazing expressions, but she's looking at the camera when the camera closes on her. She's looking when the camera is like from the side. She's looking at it. I don't know if they do not alert the girls or if they do not do a rehearsal where the cuts are exactly the same, because I really feel like they need to look more at the camera. Like, that would be my general criticism and constructive feedback that I would give to everyone. Look at the camera, because that's something I feel like has been missing in all of the performances. But overall, I feel like the show has been getting better. This was the first time we got some variety content, which I really appreciate. The performances has also been getting better. Obviously, as the lower ranks are being eliminated, I expect the performances to be better and better. We saw the teaser for the next week where 3 girls get eliminated from the 18, and I don't really think we should eliminate more people because I still really like Kuruka and I still want to see more from her. And she's just going to be eliminated at this point. I really like Funa as well, as I stated over and over again. So I don't want to see her getting eliminated. And I think the benefit this time was a bit too much. Like 100 points was too big of a difference, to the point where only the ones who won actually could be high level and everyone else was just kind of like just fighting to not be eliminated. But 100 points was a bit too much as a benefit. I get it that you need to have a benefit to like win and stuff, but I don't really agree with this elimination system, especially since the judges are biased. And then the benefits, it's making the game very unbalanced, I assume. Those were my thoughts on episode 5 of Are You Next? I do hope next episode we see all of the performances and we see the elimination and we cut the episode there. Just show me downtime, just girls having fun, singing the karaoke, having rap battles. Feel free to comment down below what you're thinking of the show, who was catching your eye, if you are a Big Six supporter, if you have anything else you want me to discuss or talk about. As always, just comment down below and have a great everything. Goodbye.